Yay!
everyone. We'll be right back. I mean, I think we will.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Hello, everyone, and I'm Lizzie. I'm here with Angie. You're seeing our faces this time, and this is our last episode of Stargirl season 2. Summer school again, though still no one went to school. At least they mentioned school this time, though. They talked about going to school.
They did. And I just want to add that that's the first time I've listened to our entire theme song in a really long time. Like, no shade on our theme song. Our theme song is awesome. I actually super love our theme song. But like when I listen to the podcast back, I skip ahead because I have things to do. And I just want to point out how awesome our theme song is. That's it.
It is. It is. I don't think I listened to it. I always listen to the end as I'm editing, but our team, we're awesome. Our team song is awesome, and also Andy, who's not here, is awesome. Andy, I thought Andy was gonna join us, and then he just dipped out at the end. But I just want you all to know that Andy is awesome too, even if he abandoned us.
We extended an invitation, and I guess there was just a miscommunication.
If you need me to, I can talk. I can join. I said it's up to you guys, and you were like, it's fine, whatever.
No. We are so casually in tune with Andy that we're if you want to be here, and he thought that us we didn't want him here, so I was like, I'm just gonna put him on the spot because we always want you around, Andy.
Yeah, it's true.
Thank you.
Our fearless leader.
Yes.
Oh, stop it. I'm definitely not fearless. I definitely get fearful of things. But no, I can't believe season 2 is already over. Can we have summer? Can we have summer back already?
No, but summer, but not summer school. I'm really looking forward to Stargirl Frenemies.
Oh,
that is my favorite season of the show, and it hasn't even started.
Oh, do we want to get into that, or should we start?
No, let's start in some semblance of order. I guess with what was a little bit of a rush finale for me. It kind of felt the same as last season finale, which was very good. But things had to develop really fast, so they had the time to set up the next season. And I think the same thing happened here. Things were really, really fast with Eclipso. They build up Eclipso we can't beat him, and then they beat him in 5 minutes. And I'm not complaining, especially considering everyone came back to life this episode except again Henry Jr. was apparently staying dead for good. So
R.I.P.
But yeah, what do you? I personally like. I'm gonna say because I'm gonna start with Rick because apparently Angie and I have a Rick thing. And there wasn't enough Cameron to go into that. Though there was Dr. McKnight and his what was it that you called it, Angie? Please.
His tree trunk thighs, his
Yeah.
thighs that could choke a bear.
Yeah, those were present since he was in uniform this episode. But I want to talk Rick.
No. Okay, all members of the Dr. McKnight Thighs fan club present because we saw them this episode.
Okay.
When he was standing next to Beth. So they had their cute little like costume moment, and I was like, this is all I wanted from this finale. And then
it was good.
It was good.
What we didn't get enough of, I think, was Rick, but in a good way, because I would have been kind of upset if the hourglass thing was so easy to fix that he just fixed it in 5 minutes. It kind of makes more sense that he just couldn't solve it, and I presume he will by next season, but that he couldn't solve it and then he decided to put on the costume and just go, just like try to be a hero or whatever.
I love that we got a comment from B that you got here in time for the Dr. McKnight tree trunk talk. Yes, you did. We're always ready to talk about this. Let's be honest. I think this is going to be like how we always are on Andy about how he talks about the Flash. You guys are going to have to keep me in check about how often I talk about Dr. McKnight's thighs.
But like, I don't think our audience would like us to keep you in check, Angie. Like, I think they would appreciate if you just kept going. So like, we got a lot of comments on Twitter about how much people agreed with us, and we are going to have a lot of reason to talk about this in season 3. So
like, I want to know what his workout regimen is, because like my thighs could never get to like that like capacity and beautifulness, but I would like to know like what's the lower body work out there, because I can squat all day and I'm getting nowhere close to that.
I mean, I actually don't know if I want to know. I just want to like see them without actually like
his thighs are the source of his power.
I don't want the explanation. I just want to enjoy it. Especially as we okay, but let me try to dial it back and go back to what I was saying about Rick.
I'm sorry I derailed this with my thigh talk.
It's good. Let's go back to our boy Rick and whether would you have liked to see him actually fight. I like that he called Grundy. He's like, oh, I got my strength here and it's not going away.
Grundy with a phone.
He got Grundy killed.
Grundy with a telephone is the most hilarious image now ever. Solomon Grundy wants phone too. What's an iPhone?
But Grundy got killed, presumably not just only temporarily. Like the shade made it look like no one is ever really dead. Which the fact that I said the shade in present tense means no one is really dead. So.
Well, the shade was like, yo, you're burying him in the wrong place. Go bury him over here and he'll like sprout, I guess, in the spring, like daisies. I don't know, but I guess that's how that works in this show.
Look, again, everyone but Henry Jr. is coming back. Everyone.
Yeah,
we need Grundy. We need Grundy in our lives.
And I was excited to see the shade back because he's so delightful. Like, I really enjoy that actor. I really enjoy that character, especially like as we're getting into the frenemies theme of next season. I think it's definitely going to be fun to have him around in that like frenemy kind of like capacity.
I think it's going to be fun, and I'm glad he's sticking around. We did discuss this last episode, and we said that he was someone we hope would be back in season 3. I didn't think he would be here this soon. And another thing we weren't sure how it was going to play out was the Sylvester thing, which I actually mostly enjoyed how it played out. Surprisingly, admittedly, I enjoyed how it played out. I do think, and I know they needed to keep the episode moving, but we got nothing in the way of explanation. And after an entire season, I at least need a Pat Dugan to be like, hey, dude, how are you alive? Just quick, how are you alive and left me all this time?
Yeah, isn't that the first question you ask? So it's like, He knocks on the door. Barbara opens it. Oh, it's you. How are you here?
I thought you were dead. Like, I don't know if they live in a different world. I mean, they do. They are superheroes. But I still think you open the door and the first question is, how are you alive? Like, Andy, please do tell me that your first question would be like, hey, weren't you dead?
I mean, I was just like, hey, Joel McHale's on the show. That's cool.
Let's
It's gonna be a long wait to find out how he's back. So, yeah, no, I just figured that they didn't really have time to get to the why, because one, like, the purple hell was raining upon them, and you gotta save some mysteries with season 3. Like, I honestly think they were supposed to reveal something about him this season, but then I think they got their early season 3 renewal, and then they're like, well, if we have him next season, then may as well just save that mystery for now, and also focus more on the characters.
Right, but I didn't need the actual explanation. I just needed the question. Sometimes when shows cut things like this, it comes off as it makes no sense, because I didn't really need them to answer. But when Courtney turns to him after Eclipso said toast, literally, she's like, "Oh, you're a Starman," but she's like, "How are you?" Like, literally, all I needed was the question, and then you can cut. You don't have to give me the answer right away. But when you cut the entire, sometimes, and it's probably what Andy said. But you cut the entire scene, and it's like no one asked how he was.
It just seems like less genuine when you don't get that kind of like obvious reaction out of your characters. I agree with Lizzie that like we didn't need to hear the answer, but we needed to hear the question. And I also liked what you just said, Andy, about like how they probably got an early season 3 renewal, which is why they didn't do it, because it doesn't make any sense to me why they brought him so early into season 2 and just had him going on his road trip for 12 episodes or however long it was until he got there. Like, that was enormously frustrating because we were keep wondering, like, where is he? Where is he? Why is there no explanation? And now we're still like not getting any explanation, and it's been so long.
Did he bring souvenirs? Like, did he stop at every town on the way?
Right? Did he go to Disneyland?
He probably did. He was like, because probably back when he was, Starman. I don't know if like they really had time to go to Disneyland and things like that. So like, he was probably like, oh, like I have 13 hours conveniently. I can stop by LA and just hang out and do things.
Like, we need a lot of explanations now that I think about it. He looks like just like Pat. They look very good for how much time has passed, and Pat looks the same that he looked when he was like, what?
That's just Luke Wilson's superpower. That's all.
Right, but then that's a Joel McHale superpower apparently too. Like, at least Dr. McNider has an excuse. He was in the Shadowlands. Was everyone else's excuse? And the shade is just like in more. And the rest of you, like, what's your excuse? Because, I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Other than that, I thought the final episode flowed really well from storytelling wise. We got a really good moment with Beth and Dr. McKnight. Beth's parents are now freaking me out. They went from here to there, and I don't know where I stand with them, because now they're very excited and they're just gonna cause trouble. But I think that the thing I needed the most was maybe more team moments. Because they paid off everything with Courtney, but her thinking about the team moments. But we didn't really get enough of those in the last half of the season. She had to, even when she was thinking about to try to get Eclipso out of her, she had to go back to moments that were older. Like the Rick moment was in season 1. Only the Beth moment was relatively recent because she hasn't had a moment with Beth. She barely had one in season 1. And I think that goes to show that maybe the show's getting a little too many characters, a little heavy, and we haven't had the JSF bonding moments that we really loved in season 1.
Yeah, I agree. There was definitely what I did like, even though we didn't get the team moments, was the addition of Cindy into the team and how they focus on like her interactions with Yolanda and so on, and how she would like to become one of the JSA, which I think is perfect.
It was so cute when she asked. She was like, well, you've done bad things too, so. And Yolanda's like, can you just ask what you want?
I think that's going to be a lot of fun in season 3. It reminds me kind of like when Anya joined in Buffy the Vampire
Yes.
Slayer, like how they're gonna have to teach her how to be good in a way.
Yeah. How to be human.
Let's
Yeah.
just hope that there's no parent that has to die, because I don't know if I want to see Shiv have to deliver that Anya speech from the body. Like,
No, thank
oh my god,
you.
that was, oh my god, that was.
Andy, how
How dare
dare
you
you
bring that
bring that
episode
up?
into this discussion?
But that was one of Anya's best
Seriously,
episodes.
put that out there. If something happens to Pat Dugan in season 3, it's gonna be your fault.
Oh my god.
Sure, yeah, I'm a writer on the show. Yeah, that's my there we go. My secret is out.
I'm
You
still
know,
gonna blame you. So
yeah, you know, usually most things in the airways are my fault, so I'm all good.
I mean, I honestly I like to blame you for things, but like I'm pretty sure you would have done Arrow very differently. So no. But this one I'm just gonna chalk up to karma if something bad happens. I really like the dynamics they established. I just missed a little bit more of the team dynamics we already had. I really did like Mike and Jakeem though.
Oh man.
They're very
so
fun
precious.
together.
They could have been annoying, and instead they were just precious kids. And Jakeem was like, and when he was like, I fight monsters in video games, but I get extra lives and I use them all. I was like, that is the most relatable thing anyone has ever said on this show, because they just go running towards danger. And Jakeem's like, oh no, that's danger.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add something about the whole the missing you know, like team scene song, because it was something I was kind of noticing on all, you know, all the Airway shows this year, like where we didn't have, like, because you know these are some shows with a lot of ensembles on them, but there were a lot of time where like we didn't get to see all of them together, and so and like, you know, like I don't know when this episode was filmed, particularly of this last year / this year, but like I definitely think there was some pandemic challenges for sure. So I think it's gonna be a lot easier next season though, like because now people been vaccinated, and you know there's the booster shot and so on. I think it'll be easier. So, but I think like a lot of things that we were not getting in season 2, we'll probably get a lot of season 3. So,
I mean, that's a very valid point, and I hope it's just that. And I mean, some of the things we want are just things we want because they did such a good job of setting them up. Like the dynamics between the kids were set up so well in season 1 and the beginning of season 2 that we just want more of them. And then the only other real criticism, because I don't like to just sit here and gush, even though I love the show, is that the Sylvester thing. There are some things that make no sense. Like, how are the Crocs there? How are they out of jail? And how did like their daughter broke them out of jail, and then they just bought a house? They let you buy houses after you like,
yeah. Real Stay in Blue Valley became a lot easier after that summer. They're like, you know, it's supposed to be summer here, but yet it was raining and it was blowing. It was almost as if it was like late fall. We ain't gonna stay here. And Arm was just like, hold my what sport does she play again? Hold my baseball. I will go break my parents out.
No, it's not baseball.
I don't know.
Football.
Right?
Okay,
Football.
okay. It's been a long year. It's been a long year, and yeah. I just love Artemis so much, and I love Stella Smith in this role. That I'm expecting her to be the next cast member to get announced as a series regular. Because if you're gonna have the parents around full time, you gotta listen. Artemis and I, we go way back. We go back all the way back to Young Justice, and you know, Arrow did her dirty, and now that we finally have a great Artemis on the CW, that you know you gotta up her and give her that bank.
She's gotta be a series regular. It makes no sense that the parents are gonna be series regulars and she won't.
You have a comment from B, who says, "I do hope Cindy apologized to Yolanda at some point for the whole picture thing."
Right. I thought she was gonna apologize at the end. Like I thought she was building up to that, and then instead she built up to I want to be part of the JSA. And I think that's something that they're saving because their dynamic has a lot of
I think she's gonna have to go on like an apology tour. Like she's done several people dirty on that team, so she's just gonna have to have her like moments with each one before she really kind of like starts getting integrated.
Right, and it might be interesting in a thing they play with in season 3, that with this new people like with frenemies sort of on the team or around the team probably helping out, it might help the dynamics between the original JSA, because I mean the show has really established Courtney and Yolanda, But the show will probably, like, even with Cindy being Cindy, it will probably go back to the original four, being like, oh, Cindy, like those kind of things can be used for fun dynamics between the characters that were already there, with new characters coming in. And then Mike and Jakeem sort of feel like they're gonna have their own thing. And even Jenny feels like she's not gonna be around full time, at least till she sort of figures out what's going on with her brother, which is, we saw Mr. Bones, and it's gonna
Yeah.
require everyone sort of like, that's gonna be, feels like the big thing in season 3. I don't, it depends on how they do it, but like, they already, when you bring in a villain like Eclipso in, and it feels like the consequences of what he can do are so large, when you bring in another villain that the consequences don't seem so large, you're like, is this other villain really gonna need all the heroes and all the villains to be defeated? Because they should be able to do that before lunch, considering they just dealt with Eclipso, you know what I mean?
That's true. It kind of brings into like what is more interesting to viewers. Like, do we like that more like cosmic, huge, universal consequences villain, or like a more real world kind of villain? Kind of like what was happening in Superman and Lois before I fell off the wagon and couldn't keep up. But there was
They
like,
all died.
Right. I mean, yeah, I like, generally speaking, villains that are rooted in real life. Eclipso was a real exception, but I think they handled it well. At least till the end. Like, it always happens at the end when you have a villain like Eclipso, that to defeat him, you're like, okay, so this is gonna be like, we all knew, Angie and I talked about this the entire season, that it was gonna take Courtney just being Courtney, like the lighting side of Courtney, to defeat him. And so I don't even think the show was trying to keep that from viewers. That was very obvious. It's just that in the end, like in the final, like for the dude who like literally had this big plan, then they just beat him and turned him into toast, which was funny. A funny way to break a very intense moment. But I mean, it took like, and the fight sequences. I gotta say, there was a moment with the fight sequence, and you got the 3 girls and Eclipse on the other side. That was like one of my favorite fight sequences. It's just like the choice to have Courtney, Cindy, and Yolanda there, and in that moment, not have even Beth. They had to send her off with Dr. McKnight, and there's a scene where there's all of them, and there's Pat and Dr. McKnight are there. But the first shot was like the 3 girls in Eclipse. So I love that.
yeah, that shot was totally deserving. It didn't feel like pandering at all because we had spent so much time with all of them and we knew that there was an important reason for all of them to be united and fighting together. So yeah, I was super excited about that scene too. My girls, my babies.
Yeah, and then
Like,
Cindy is such an interesting character. I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Andy. Go.
no, I was just gonna say like imagine next year, like with all 4 of them, Artemis, probably Jenny, like there's gonna be, I mean, it's a lot of good kick-ass women on this show, which I appreciate that because you know as a male, I will say that even I get tired of the sausage fest that we have in this genre. So and there's a lot of variety of female characters on there. It doesn't feel like there's like 3 of the same, and then the one whoever is different or whatever. So whether it's a villain like Shiv, or if it's someone like Jade, Jenny. I keep saying Jade even though they don't say Jade.
Right.
So
We're so used to it. The funny thing is that now that Andy mentions that, we're gonna have a very stacked team of women next season.
Yeah.
Rick doesn't even have a friend. Rick doesn't have friends in general, so he only has girlfriends because,
I love it. How progressive of
right?
this show. His closest friends are women.
And he
I love
doesn't even
it.
seem to care. Like,
No.
generally speaking, he's fine about it. And also, who else are they gonna possibly bring into the team? Cameron?
No. Ooh.
Which doesn't
Okay.
seem like it's gonna be a good thing. Like, the Cameron thing is gonna go way bad before it ever goes good.
I think they're gonna make I think Mr. Bones is just gonna be like kind of in the background. I think Cameron is going to be like the main problem of season 3, especially with the theme being frenemies. I think
At least
he's
at
gonna be the one
first,
to deal
yeah.
with. Yeah.
see.
It's
We
gonna
have
be fun.
Anina, Rick, and Cameron friendship.
I mean, I
Um,
would love that, especially as the setup between the two of them is very, very antagonistic. Like we had that scene that they threw in with Rick giving him like the stink eye from the car, and Cameron didn't get it, and I was like, Rick, you're just going. Rick is known for being extra. My lovely boy, he's next. He's extra.
you talk about him as if like you're your son or something. I love
He's
that.
like
He
my
is.
precious baby. He is our precious. He is the Roy Kent of Stargirl. And
Exactly.
we love him, okay, we
He's our
absolutely
collective son.
right. Exactly.
We have a
So
comment from Warren
and
Walker.
thankfully he's out of jail and he can eat other things and apples that Grundy throws through the
One
bar.
apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
An apple that fell on the floor of a filthy jail cell.
All right, yeah,
Listen.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's like when there was an episode of Titans this season where Beast Boy, like, every time he has to become an animal, he has to get shirtless, and like he was rolling on the floor. I'm like, they had this boy run on the floor during a pandemic. There's probably lots of bacteria on that floor.
I like this comment. It says we spent half an episode making a wish with Shade, and Jakeem just turns the clips into a piece of toast. Another reason Mike wasn't the right person for the bit. I agree that Mike wasn't the right person. I do think that the combination of Mike and Jakeem is gonna be hilarious come season 3, because I mean Jakeem also doesn't really know what he's doing. It's sort of turned out well and really badly at times. We've seen that. I think the combination is going to be really good, but I also think, I mean, it's a little concerning because, like, if you give Mike Stripe, like, what does Pat do?
He
Maybe he'll build a mini
fights his
Stripe.
he fights his demons.
He retires, and do we ever go back to whatever it is he did with Rick's uncle? Like, give him a stern talking to, or what? What happened there? Because he didn't even bring it up. Like, he didn't even blink when Courtney was talking about everyone having a dark side. And
Mhm.
that would have been a good moment to at least be like, yes, I agree. I have a dark side too. Instead, he was like, maybe you're right. I was like, Pat, what exactly did you do a couple of episodes ago? Please tell us.
I mean, I wasn't complaining that he got rid of Rick's uncle. I'm just like, well, oh, so you're like an assassin. Okay, so how do I put in an order to get rid of Yolanda's parents now?
Right,
Like,
but we discussed this extensively. The thing is, what did he do? He couldn't have beat him up more. That makes no sense. Dude was already in the hospital. So
He
what
killed
did
him.
Dad do right then and there?
Took a
That's
pillow and
important.
pushed it to his face. All he needed was a pillow, and Rick's uncle would be gone.
No, but Rick's uncle is not dead, because the line is that he dropped the charges, not that he died. He dropped the charges. Pat somehow convinced him to drop the charges.
And then he killed him.
I mean, again, if Rick's uncle were dead, no one would be crying. I just find it a very interesting storytelling possibility that Pat did that, and then we heard nothing about it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And then he fought himself for a while, which was strangely arousing, I must say.
I was feeling the same with him. I'm like, I'm not gonna be the one to say it. So like, I'm glad you opened the door for that.
I'll take one for the team. You know me, I'm always down to release the
controversial.
thirst of this podcast.
Even Sylvester looked good this episode. I don't know what
He
was happening.
did.
Like, I'm not a Joel McHale fan. This has been established in this podcast. And not particularly that I have anything against Joel McHale. I just generally don't even find him that attractive. And I didn't like Sylvester. And I still don't like Sylvester because I don't like any possibility that he will push Pat aside is going to make me mad. But also, Joel McHale, if you looked this good before, maybe I would have thought differently.
I mean, listen, there were times on Community when Jeff would get shirtless and like even
Community.
Sorry.
I couldn't stand Community.
What?
Oh, really?
Community is awesome.
Wow.
Do you like Community, Angie?
Yeah.
Are we in the darkest timeline now because Lizzie doesn't like it?
I don't like it at all.
Lizzie had to have one flaw, so this is.
I should have. When we
disagree
did,
on.
yeah, we should have had when you guys got when we had the for the listeners who don't know, when I cast these two for the podcast, like they had never met each other before, and like even when we announced the podcast, they hadn't even talked to each other on Voice of Voice. So the first time they got together, it was like pure magic. Like they talked as if like they talked like as if like it was my mom and my aunt, like the two really close sisters. Like that's the way it was, like reminiscent of that. So I just stepped away. I'm like, I'm just gonna let them talk. But maybe we should have included that of this like, so Lizzie, what shows do you like and do not like, so that, and Angie, what shows do you like and do not like, so that you each know each other's
I mean,
flaws.
I would have brought up Community as a show I dislike because I have no real like I hated reason. The humor never clicked for me. I probably didn't watch enough of it because that's something that happened.
Well, when
to
did
me
you stop?
at the beginning with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then I picked it back up and I loved it. But I watched a little bit of season 1 and I was like, yeah, bye. Bye. So I understand the Joel McHale thing in an academic way, but I just never had a reason to like him. And this look that he gave me as Sylvester in the
dark jeans, the scruff, the jacket,
the scrub, and like the haircut was, I don't know.
Dark timeline.
He stopped at a very good barber shop on the way to Blue Valley, and he was looking sharp.
He did on his road trip to Blue Valley.
We have a comment from Warren Walker, which, by the way, what a cool name, Warren Walker. Coming to you on the CW. Maybe he's the true Walker. I also think Sylvester's going to take over the mentor role of the team, and Pat becomes a sidekick again for drama.
I'm a kick Sylvester.
I think that's a great idea, and again, it ties into like frenemies because then it'll create like an antagonistic relationship between them.
Kick Sylvester's ass.
But I don't like anyone stepping near our man Pat Dugan, so I have mixed feelings about that idea, but I think it's interesting.
I mean, I think it's probably what's going to happen. Like, it'll bring the drama, and then Pat needs some drama, and it makes no sense for him and Sylvester to go back to being BFFs. Not that I'm sure they ever were, as much as Pat would like to believe they were. And their dynamics have to be explored, obviously. And he's going to be in the basement. It's going to be a mess. But again, I just need many more explanations. Why are you in the basement? Why are you rich? What happened to your fortune? Did you spend it all in the 20 years that you were hiding? Where were you? Like, I almost would have liked if this was a crisis thing. Because, I mean, otherwise, where were you? And why did you leave your friend for all this time? Like, I had a really hard time. And like, I thought it would be, what's your excuse? And like, if it turns out to be one's like, I was protecting you.
Maybe Helix brought him back.
I'm gonna punch him in the face.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel, Lizzie.
That's been my problem with the Sylvester idea from the beginning. I'm really protective of Pat Dugan, and I don't think this is gonna be good for Pat Dugan. And then also, I'm gonna be mad if it turns out Courtney gets really close to Sylvester and she starts having the moments with Sylvester that she usually have with Pat, and then Pat's gonna get jealous, and I'm gonna be mad.
Oh, that's gonna make me so mad, but that's gonna be good TV.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
And then Pat's gonna feel like he's being replaced in Courtney's life.
Especially since Courtney thought Starman was her father for like half a season anyway. Oh no.
I hate it.
What have we done?
I hate it. And then we're also gonna for sure have the Cameron drama, which, I mean, are he and Courtney supposed to be dating? What is happening with them right now? Like, some clarity in that regard would be good, because last time we saw them, they were like hanging out like happily. They almost kissed before that. No one brought it up. This is a very weird relationship, because next time they hung out, I at least would have asked like, hey, you want to kiss me or what? Is this a thing where we kiss? I don't know what's up with kids these days. Maybe relationships are different than they used to be. But
again, I think, given that these two are probably, they may be playing teenagers on the show, but they're definitely like adults in real life. So I'm just assuming that, hey, probably, they probably also had pandemic rules to follow, which, I'm like, next year, like, I expect all the shows next year to be like, they're going to be more makeout season ever. Like, watch for those Lois and Clark scenes next season, because there's going to be more than juice boxes. There's going to be,
Right, Andy, but you're just like, common sense does not belong in this conversation. What I'm saying is, the pandemic prevented them from kissing more, which might be true. What I'm saying is,
next time, the episode after they had a moment together after the almost kiss, no one even brought it up. Like, again, those are things that may be left on the cutting room floor, but they make no sense as viewers. You're like, okay, so you almost kissed her last time. You were all like, you always run out of me, whatever. And then next time you're just hanging out like nothing, and you didn't bring up that the almost kiss or that you always run out of me. It's kind of like it feels like it doesn't really follow in. This comment from B is our favorite today. See that I was a little salty that Cameron wasn't included in Courtney's little love montage. I mean, I like Cameron and Courtney together. I just think they keep dropping the ball there. I don't know if that's a pandemic thing or if they're just not ready to commit to them as a couple. Which honestly, if they're gonna turn him into a villain, they should have committed more. Because that would have hurt more. It would have hurt more. Like, it's gonna hurt anyway, but like it would have hurt a lot more if they really committed this season. And like Courtney could have been like, I don't know, like he didn't even have to be there. But they could have been like my boyfriend, or like, yes, included him in the little montage at the end.
Here's my question. Okay. This actor, Hunter, right? He spent clearly a lot of time working out. Why didn't we see any of the fruits of that labor in this season? There was no suit. There was no him. Like, he could have like, oh, it's hot. I'm outside. I'm painting this mural. I'm going to take my shirt off. Where was that?
Right. Like, this is not the Thirst podcast, but since we're at it, it was very noticeable how much he bulked up in between seasons. Like that might have been a pandemic thing. Like, I'm stuck at home. Let me just work out. Oh my God. Wait, I got to stop. This is the best comment I've ever heard. Since Eclipso is, I'm going to read it out loud because it deserves it. Also, since Eclipso is now a toast, they can't throw him into the ocean because it would get soggy and dissolve, freeing him. Oh my God. Where are they going to keep the toast? Like, where do you keep a piece of, like, so, yeah, right. So where is the toast? And that is the question.
Well, won't it also get like, is it like normal toast? Like, is it going to get moldy? Like, what do you...
burned, so but the dog will eat it. The dog will eat it, and the dog will become Eclipso.
That's interesting. What happens if someone eats the toast? Like, where do you leave the toast? Maybe there are people who like toast that is like burned. My mom's like that, so she would eat that toast. So then what happens?
She would eat that toast.
She says, "That's what I'm saying. Hunter is very handsome, and he got Jack. Like, come on."
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not alone in this. Thank you, dear listeners, for agreeing. Because where was it?
Yeah, we need.
I needed push-ups. He could have done some push-ups for some reason.
I think conceivably we could have had a scene where he like discovered his powers because he was very hot and he had to take his shirt off, and then the powers came from within, and like I could have come up with 5 different scenarios to get him shirtless. So
we've already started writing these scenes, so they better be in season 3.
Right. So I mean, this is a very good looking group of kids. They don't look, they do a really good job of, they don't actually look like adults. Like, we know they're adults, but they really do a good job of making them look like they're 16, 17, like borderline adults. Like, they look young enough. Like, I think Yvette's magic is just the braids. How does she look that much younger? Like, I don't know. It's the braids. I mean, when she lets her hair out, we'll like, oh yeah, you're not 17.
Oh no. Whenever she's post stories on Instagram, so when she has her hair down, I'm like, I did not know that she was like in her like late 20s or whatever it said. Like, I literally, like, I thought all of them were like 16, 17 years old. So I'm just like, so what did I do wrong in my life?
I actually think Cameron, who plays Rick, is probably the younger one, which was not something anyone would have expected. But yeah, I mean, have we ever talked about what happened in the episode, or have we just been like thirsting over random characters here? I just don't remember.
I think it's been mostly first, but season finale, that's usually when it gets crazy.
Exactly. What else are people going to expect from this episode anyway?
I mean, there was a lot of things to thirst over. Oh, but can we talk about Beth's parents for a little bit? Like,
yeah,
what the hell?
I love them. I love them so
How
much.
did they go from like what happened at the end? Like did they become like fanboys? Can you imagine them coming into contact with the Crocs? Like I've had nightmares of what would happen. Like imagine Pat and Barbara, Beth's parents, and the Crocs, like a dinner party.
That's just wildly uncomfortable.
God, I don't know.
They would just all be bragging about their kids. It'd be Beth's parents bragging about Beth, the Crocs bragging about Artemis, and then Pat and Barbara just being like, dinner rolls?
And then we're getting some comments that is very bad. Like the show has always existed on a very nebulous timeline, like an amount of years ago, some years ago. But then actually they really timed themselves saying that Dr. McNider's son was 10. 10 years old? That all happened 10 years ago? I mean, that would explain why Pat looks basically the same, but it makes everything else, like nothing else makes sense. Like, what? Yes,
Yeah.
to be older, but like what they wanted was a 10-year-old. Like, and then I think this is one of those like suspend disbelief kind of things, like the glasses with Clark. I just
wait, Warren, can you remind me what was the biggest plot from season 3 of The Flash? There's been a few on some of these shows, but like, I don't even remember. But based on the season, we all know all the OGJC items could have taken place in 5 years.
I mean, nothing makes sense timeline wise in this show, especially the 80s aesthetics that they sort of have, 90s at least, like early 90s at least, the aesthetics visually that the show sort of exists on. But they got it's all very weird. So, but they maybe like want that for visually. But they just really needed to pick, and it might just be one of those things where they try to keep it vague, and then they had to time themselves because they wanted Chuck's kid to be 10, and then they were just like, oh, no one's gonna care, and I mean, fine, the show is good enough that we can probably overlook it. Like we watched Arrow and The Flash and Supergirl, like they've done questionable plot holes, to say the least.
But I've noticed it's become a trend with TV, some genres in general, like with Riverdale, we don't know exactly what year it's actually taking place and so on. And I think it's like like you look at Blue Valley, it doesn't look like it's like completely unmodern unmodern English. I don't know, but and like but like you can tell that there's like bits and pieces. It's probably not a very rich town, maybe. So maybe that's why they have it the way. Have it look the way it does, but yeah, I for me, like I'm fine with whatever they want to do and so on, because the story at least is good, but it does sometimes get like we were joking about it on the Flashback a few weeks ago after we did our crossover with you, like decades, like how long is that in Stargirl? Is it 10 years? Is it 20 years? Is it 30 years? What is time anymore?
On Stargirl, who knows? Like the thing about Stargirl is that it's either a very 90s aesthetic or a very right now, like the way the kids dress, because the early 90s aesthetic is back. So that's how kids are dressing now. So it could be very now. And so that makes it weird because neither of the timelines fit with the rest of what they're giving us. So you're like, okay, so is it happening like right now? Okay, that's how they would be dressing, and then nothing else makes sense. I don't know. And then Mike and Jackie like doing the paper route. Is that a thing that still exists?
It does still happen in my neighborhood. Like I do see like.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that in ages.
Yeah. Do they also like still deliver milk to like people's houses in Blue Valley?
I don't know.
That would be funny if they did.
Blue Valley is a very weird place.
It's a very like I know it's supposed to be a very like kind of small town sort of vibe, which I mean, I don't live in one, but you drive through them and you're like, yeah, I think Blue Valley is believable as a small town. Very mysterious as far as what time is in general. I'm assuming there's going to be a time travel plot down the line.
I'm excited for that, especially if it has something to do with Seven Soldiers.
Yeah, I'm
soldiers.
assuming that's the only explanation, but it's going to happen. They're not going to do it within season 3 because they have all of these many characters that they introduced to deal with. So I'm thinking that's going to be like 4 or 5. They'll bring that up.
Oh, you mean that, Warren? I mean, I guess.
That's
I guess post crisis, they maybe maybe Nora did show up somehow again, but she didn't die. I don't know. It's still unclear, but
Crisis is the Arrowverse's band-aid for everything. Like this
well, they
doesn't make
needed
sense.
it.
It's Crisis. This doesn't make sense. Blame it on Crisis, which is why I thought at some point that we were gonna get the Sylvester explanation be Crisis, because at least they wouldn't have to explain like that. Like, oh well, it came back, Crisis. And then they didn't, and I was like, but then where's my explanation? Thank you, I require. But it's sort of like what we said before and what Andy said. When the show is good and the rest is good, this is an academic discussion that we can have. These things don't make sense. These things we would like more of. But no one's like, this is the worst show ever because these things don't make sense. Because even if they don't make sense, the characters are fun. The dynamics between the characters are fun. So we're just like, okay, well, we'll take it, I guess.
It's all good in the hood.
Yes, Stargirl is actually part of the Arrowverse, believe it or not.
Yeah.
What? This whole time. Just kidding.
This whole
Okay, oh my god, I was about to be like, wait, does
and the
Andy not
only
know?
reason we want Stargirl to stay part of the Arrowverse is because my dream crossover is Courtney and Jonathan Kent somehow becoming friends. I don't care how it happens.
I think I'd rather have Jordan and Courtney at this point.
You'd rather have Jordan and what? Jordan and nothing. I already said the perfect thing. Bring Jordan into it.
Right now, Jonathan is not really on my favorite radar, so I'm slightly kidding. I know I still want.
Can I drop Andy from this conversation?
How to delete audio from podcast?
Since I'm the one who's controlling the buttons from StreamYard,
But also imagine Jordan and Rick. No, that could repress anger.
That'd be explosive.
Explosive indeed.
I still want for Breck, because I know Breck really wants to, Breck Basinger, and I still want her and Barry to get to meet, since I don't know what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to do a crossover in season 1, but then it fell through. But she was like, she really she I feel like every time she brought up the Flash, she's like, oh, I really want to meet Grant Gustin. I really want to work with him. And so I'm like,
you just know that because you're the Flash podcast. Don't bring your Flash.
No, that's what she has said. I have receipts.
Actually, what would probably be easiest in the sense of timeline is trying to get Melissa to do a cameo or like an appearance, because they won't have to worry about the Supergirl timelines and Supergirl is ending. But we don't know how Supergirl's going to end. I haven't watched Supergirl in 57 years, so I will read about it.
People should just tune in on Tuesday.
Yes, I won't be one of those people tuning in on Tuesday. I will read about it and then...
Do you think Floriana Lima's going to tune in?
I mean, honestly, I should actually probably tune in just to see Alex marry Kelly and enjoy that it's not Maggie and Floriana's fake Latina ass. I literally, you see me stop thinking about the words I was gonna say, so I just ass is available. That's one I can use. Okay, whatever. We're not gonna talk about Floriana Lima and my love for her.
But I'm gonna answer something more that B was saying, about Stargirl being part of the Arrowverse, because the one thing I really hope that Stargirl can do, because before we got because before this Earth 2, we had, Jesse Quick's Earth 2, and I'm still hoping that Jesse Quick is still alive and that she lives on Courtney's Earth.
That's an interesting one. I would really like that.
Her show got canceled last year on CBS, so hopefully Violet Bean could come back and she could be on, because Jesse Quick is a JSA member, and so that would be cool.
and
See,
more
that's
ladies.
a your berry
Yeah.
thing. You should have led with that because what I really
Well, listen, I don't know what
the
I don't know
other
what the hate.
female superheroes. We are on a female show. Apparently, Rick is the only boy allowed here. We don't want anymore.
Well, we have Jakeem now, and probably next season we're gonna have Todd Rice.
No, we have Jakeem and Mike, but they
But
feel like
Todd,
they're 12. They
but
feel like the
but
little
but
brothers
Todd,
of the JSA. So we're not even
Obsidian,
counting them as
but Todd,
maybe.
Obsidian,
Right.
Green Lantern's
But he
son.
probably won't be like I assume getting Todd will be a journey. Like it won't be like he'll just pop in the first episode, and I enjoy that.
The casting director's
really
walking right now,
enjoy
just being like, "Hold my beer," and she's gonna cast him right away just to prove you wrong.
I mean, but I don't actually care. Like if the show does it well, I don't actually care. I'm just my preference if we're gonna bring Stargirl, like either bring John Wesley Shipp back, which I will take any time, or bring a woman from the established Arrowverse into it. I'm not like again, I'm not specifically a big fan of Supergirl in general. It's just as the icon that Supergirl was, sort of like passing the torch. It might be nice. I don't know how much Melissa wants to do after. Maybe she just wants to hang the cape and be like, bye. But like the two shows we podcast about, Andy and I, would probably be good with a Supergirl showing up and like, and if she can't show up as Stargirl, I'll take it. But she should probably go visit Clark at some point. Or call at least, even if I don't get to hear her voice, because it makes no sense.
Well, one benefit of Stargirl filming in Atlanta is that she would, Melissa wouldn't have to fly to Vancouver. It would be an easier way to fly there and get the costume over from the prop set and so on. And
So
also, I'm just
what
happy
we're
that
saying is bring Supergirl to Stargirl. Yes.
yeah, I mean, I'm all down for all sorts of crossovers for Stargirl. Like I think because there's so many. Because again, I love because we're kind of seeing this trend right now in the CW that they're kind of starting to go more on teenage superheroes. We have Naomi coming, which is coming on January 11th on CW, so go check that out. I'm just excited for that show, so I'm gonna plug it no matter where I go.
I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. Let's see, what does the Warren say? I'm a big Liberty Bell fan. Yeah, that would be cool.
The last no.
I kind of want Milo Stein to come back as Chuck's son.
No.
Wait, what?
No.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine?
Wait. What reference am I missing here?
That's the actor who plays
Bruce.
Eclipso.
Yeah.
Oh, he's really talented. Like
he's really good, but
he's really good, but I cannot see what I've seen.
I don't need no more nightmares from this show. This season was scary enough.
Well, yeah. I like it because I said this on Twitter that like for a lot of shows, especially in this genre, it is very challenging having a really good second season after a very strong first season. And I feel Stargirl was like one of the few ones that actually like really like, for me at least, knocked it out of the park. And like I like the horror element. That's why because the other shows, they don't do the whole subtitle thing of like like Supergirl something season, frenemies, summer school, whatever. So I love that Stargirl was doing, kind of like Young Justice. So like it kind of also it helped differentiate the season a lot better. Like, oh, what's the season with Eclipse? That's summer school. Oh, what's the season with Dr. Bone?
I think frenemies will work better because the season being called summer school is how many times did these people actually go to summer school? Like I think I'd even forgotten that. Like I almost thought there was a time jump in the middle and summer school was over. When Courtney was like, "Oh, I can go to school," and I was like, "What school? Is that a thing you go to?" Because I thought, I mean, clearly she's smart enough if she studies a little bit, and Rick's apparently a genius. And
yes, he is. Like, he's all genius.
Smart kids. Clearly, it's been established. Which thankfully, because no one is really paying attention in school.
No one's going to school. It's not that they're even paying attention. Like, how do you have time to go to school when it's like pink lightning outside? Hopefully they got like a snow day kind of situation.
Hold school if there's like you go like there's a big storm, it's snow day and school gets canceled. But there's pink lightning outside and you go to school?
Oh my god, wait.
Right. And no one is like, oh, what happened to the cafeteria? We just walked in the next day and it was cool. I don't know.
Oh my
Show.
god, that's so funny. Yeah, I Dr. Bones. That was, oh my god. I mean, I wonder what he is at this point. Is if he's like Director Bones? Is he just Mr. Bones? I just cannot believe they
I mean,
showed
I
us.
can't. Mr. Bones. He looked like a Mr. Bones. So we're just gonna call him Mr. Bones. Like he had this vibe that was like uh Hydra. That was the vibe they were going for, like Marvel's Hydra kind of deal with visually how he was dressed. Um, the not just the bones part, but the what he was wearing was very Nazi.
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
that was
maybe he is Mr. Bones and not. Although the whole director thing,
good work.
that would be interesting, I think. To bring in the DEO. Maybe that's how we get Supergirl. I don't know.
Well, Dio doesn't exist anymore on Supergirl, so
Oh, see, I haven't watched in like
it's fine.
60 years.
I've been kind of like let down by the show the last 2 3 seasons, so although it was fun like seeing, because we on because Director Bones is a huge Supergirl related character, so it was funny seeing like a lot of the Supergirl radio fans and all those Supergirl fans that react like, oh my god, they're doing Bones on Stargirl. And also Keith David. I mean, listen, this show is blessed, but the fact that we're getting Keith David is an even bigger blessing because he's amazing.
I'm excited for what that's. I feel like what Andy said, that's gonna be like sort of back half of season 3. We're gonna probably be dealing with Cameron. I just feel like we might be dealing with the romantic aspect of Cameron and Courtney's relationship early on. So they're gonna, or maybe like what I didn't want from the relationship, like I wanted to have a part of the relationship be real. Because what happens now? If Cameron knows and he approaches Courtney, everything's a lie now. Everything that happens from here on out is either him pretending, because I don't know if he goes straight to let's kill the JSA. If he's a smart guy. And then also if Cameron is a character they're going to go full evil on, or a character they plan to redeem, sort of give him an arc and sort of then, because they redeemed Cindy Berman. Like, it's not like they're just like, they probably can't do it. So that will depend on what they decide to do with Cameron, but it's a little like I wanted more background with him and Courtney to really be like, I like them, but I wanted to be like, I ship them. And I don't think they gave me that.
Also, wouldn't you be freaking out if your grandparents came up to you and
In the middle of
suddenly
the
had
street.
powers?
Wait till you're inside. What?
Like, oh yeah. Also, why are you doing this outside? That doesn't make any sense.
People are like, again, I'm pretty sure everyone on Blue Valley has signed some sort of waiver saying whatever you see on the streets that is weird, look the other way. Because, I mean, kids patrolling and like villains all over, weird cafeterias getting trashed. And everyone's like, yeah, it's just another day.
And like Cameron doesn't look bothered at all. He's there's just nothing, no reaction out of him. So he must know something.
But like he sort of exhibited a little bit of the powers before. Like we don't know how much he already knows about the powers. And like B saying, like, are they gonna tell him everything? Are they gonna just tell him about the powers? Or are they gonna tell him, look, there's this about your powers, oh, and the JSA killed your dad? Because I mean, it sort of also depends on how much they frame that as dad was a good guy and the JSA killed him. That would make it so much easier for him to turn back once he discovers it wasn't exactly like that.
Yeah, that's true. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, and then again, like B saying, and she keeps commenting, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cameron had an idea about the powers already. The thing that I feel like it's the thing that will break him is the JSA killed your dad, which again is not the full picture. But that's probably what the grandparents are gonna say. And then all hell's gonna break loose, and then Rick's gonna have more of a reason to give him the stink eye. Not that Rick needs reasons to be extra, as we've established before.
No, and then it's gonna be Cameron will actually confront Mike about it maybe he'll be in Stripe at that time. That would be cool to see.
That
Right.
Stripe just becomes like like an ice popsicle or something, and Mike's like,
Yeah.
I can't get out.
And then they have to fix Stripe again. Poor Zeke has to put in overtime. They have to buy him even more Chinese takeout.
I'm legit surprised how much I enjoy Zeke. I'm like, every
I
time he
know.
shows up behind me, he becomes funnier and funnier. I'm like, why do like not like again nothing against the actor? So I was just like, I wasn't expecting them to bring in like a separate character to help with Stripe. And the fact he's just like, y'all, I don't care what y'all do. I just like to work, and
And eat
like
Chinese food, like especially the
Mhm.
good kind. Also, that is kind of a lie. Like, where do you go? Like, when you go to China, the idea of Chinese food that we have in the US and here, it's not exactly the same kind of food you would get in China. So I'm like, where did you go to get the food? Because it
that's
looked very US kind of
well, the question for Thunderbolt,
a
and like
question
who
for the Thunderbolt.
he was so snarky and like it was like so like relaxed during the whole thing. I'm just like, this is sort of adorable. Even though I know like, there's no one there because they did also release the company that does all the special effects for Stargirl and Superman Lois. They released a clip the other day where they were showing like the breakdown of everything. And apparently Keith David was not just voicing him; he was actually in the suit and everything. Like whoever was whoever that actor who plays Nurse Love, that was Keith David in the flesh. So maybe y'all will get Keith David in the flesh next season. But like they show like the whole sequence of like creating Thunderbolts. So I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, he's my jam. He's funny.
That Thunderbolt is gonna be a hoot, and it's gonna be cause trouble, which is part of the fun of the Thunderbolt. And I am excited for Mike to be in the strap. I'm worried about what this means for Pat Dugan. I feel like my baby Pat is gonna have a hard third season, and I already didn't get enough of the Pat and Courtney vibes that carried season one and season two. So I get the feeling season three is gonna be rough for one of my favorite dynamics. Um, though season three might get into romance with this, which this show hasn't really done before. Um, and I keep joking that the most romantic relationship in Stargirl is Courtney and Yolanda because they just haven't had that much of a romance, and it feels like the Courtney and Cameron thing is just gonna go bad soon. So, can someone be happy other than Pat and Barbara? Well, I guess Beth's parents. No, can someone like not a parental figure get some like romance?
That's
And,
true, because I was gonna say the Crocs really seem to love each other.
right. Yeah, the parents are doing well on Stargirl. Good for the parents, because
By the way, how crazy was it seeing Wildcat fight Wildcat?
I mean, I do not like. I mean, I didn't know it was all in Joanna's head, but I do not like that we've. I love Ted Grant, and we've gotten nothing good about Ted Grant. I
I
think
know.
not enough Ted Grant makes him look like an ass and a grump, and then just can we get some good Ted Grant? Like we're gonna have a lot of the original members back, and if we get even like flashbacks of Ted Grant being like a decent guy, please.
Yeah, let's add that to our season 3 wish list.
Yes. Um, and I don't have much more to talk about this episode. What I think we discussed the third side. We discussed the episode. We discussed what we want to see going forward, which is more of the things that made us thirst, and just more of the dynamics because we apparently like these people. I will give Joel McHale a chance, especially if he keeps that same look, like the same
Oof.
amount of scruff. Like, just don't come back like clean shaven, and or this is we're off.
We're done.
We're
We're done
done.
here.
Yeah, like, please.
That's finally how Lizzie and I quit this podcast. It's not because any one of us had a baby. No. It's because
It's Joel
Joel
McHale.
McHale shaved.
I mean, I can do with or without the beard. I just need, Joel McHale just needs to keep that physique and so because yeah, again, like, and you must have noticed it too that when on Community, like every season, Jeff just kept getting bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger, and eventually by season 5 or 6, they had to like completely like change his like wardrobe altogether, like completely different style because I felt like he was just outgrowing all his like tight shirts and so on.
It's very
Or
raw.
Abed kept stealing all of them. I don't know.
They don't have to explain it. They can just be like, "Oh, Cameron went. He was really sad, so he, I don't know,
See,
hit the gym."
seeing the chainsaw flamethrower made me so happy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Six. The flamethrower was amazing. It
Mhm.
was
Also, the marquee on the theater said Prince Rahman, who is a
Yes,
wizard.
it did.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, that like,
That
Yeah,
would be
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it wouldn't be the first time that that one of these DC shows has teased Doctor Fate, because we were supposed to get him on Constantine, and then NBC was like,
But we're getting
no.
everyone on Stargirl. Everyone that's been teased on Stargirl has they've sort of paid off. So I don't actually believe that Stargirl is like just teasing things that they're gonna are gonna deliver. They paid off
Well,
most
they
of
have a showrunner who's a huge comic book person, so like I get that, like, if once they start teasing something, they go through with that setup. Um, but also, yeah, because we're gonna see Doctor Fate next year in Black Adam, so that's gonna be great. But also, like, I would love to see Doctor Fate just regularly, like, because he was great on Smallville, he's great on Young Justice, and I think he's a character that just, and now with this fear, like, that would be cool. Like, maybe Zeke just forgot that he is Ken Nelson, and that, he somehow, like, he's like, there's a reason I like Pat. I don't know why, but I like him, so that's why I'm gonna help him.
that's I mean, Stargirl at this point feels like if season three goes well, not only are they gonna get a season four for sure, but like there could be a couple of spin-offs here. That it feels more that there's characters that could probably have their own show here, especially if they keep bringing up so many characters at this point. We just won't have time on Stargirl for them. So it's interesting, and I think they're doing a good job of setting up some characters that might perhaps move on to their own thing. We can have the Stargirl universe, like they can have
Yeah.
a couple of different shows that cross, and then we forget about the rest of the Arrowverse. Don't mess with those questionable dynamics there, like the Arrowverse that Oliver Queen
Let's just
built,
remember.
the
Let's
Arrowverse
just
that Oliver Queen built is separation from us. We want nothing to do with the Oliver Queen, and anyone who touched Oliver Queen, we're safe here.
Well, Oliver's dead, thankfully. But secondly, let's remember
Yeah,
Arrowverse is the
like
reason we
your
have the
boy
news.
Barry was still very friendly with Oliver. Let's not
Well,
forget that.
they were good buds. They were like, I like that bromance. I ship Flaro. I will always ship Flaro.
I
And
mean, I don't like. I have very, very few good memories of Oliver Queen left. So
I was in the final season, like, Oliver was like extremely likable, which was like, I was even shocked about it, because I'm like,
what
is
is
it
the
because
final season? Arrow.
season 8, that
Arrow
it was
ended like in season four. I don't understand what you're talking about.
uh,
Okay.
darkest timeline. Lizzie landed in the darkest timeline, where, like, no community for
No, no, no,
me.
no.
No,
I don't know what season it was. I think it was five. Like, I turned off that show and I forgot about it. Deleted it from my mind. All I remember was the ugly wig, and because that's a good joke, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't think she knows the reference when I say darkest timeline. This is why you should have kept going with community.
No,
There's
no community and no Arrow in my life has been better for it. Like community, I might one day take you up on it and watch a few episodes, but let's stop talking about the other thing. Like next thing you know, you're gonna watch me to watch Heels.
I mean, I don't even watch Heels, so I don't know why I would even recommend that. You
Well,
could go
I
watch Joel
think
McHale in Spider-Man 2, when he was that mean bank person to Aunt May.
I once told Andy that I never watched Smallville except for like the first season when it first came out, and he had a panic attack and then
No, here's what she
threatened to
did
fire
that
me.
really
Is
hurt
that
me.
worse than not
No,
watching Community? Wait, I've ranked them because I watched Smallville.
I
Yeah.
watched wait. Listen, I watched like the first 2 seasons because I was like 14 and I was like, ooh, Tom Welling. And then like DVR didn't exist yet, streaming didn't exist yet. So I just
I
stopped
watched,
It's
watching
on
it
Hulu
and
now.
it kept going.
but like
Um,
the best seasons of Smallville are really the later seasons. Actually, I think.
I think the later seasons got better, because I feel like by season 6 and 7 they had kind of like gotten stuck into like too much of a own rhythm, and they got new. The original guys who created Small, which, bless their heart, I love them, but it was nice when then they had a new showrunner team, and they were like, what, let's move Clark to Metropolis, let's start his journey now, getting closer to Superman, and also like the final 3 seasons of Small is really what made we would not have these TV today if it wasn't for Smallville. Like all like even though Oliver Queen on Arrow is that, if we never got Justin Hartley as Green Arrow, like they probably would never have done a show. But no, here's what gave me a panic attack from Angie when she decided to attack me about Smallville. So we were doing our big big diversity representation episode, that we did a few years ago with everyone from the network, and like I usually, we did it on Mixer, we could play music, on the Mixer channel and so on, and I played the small theme song, and as they're listening to it, we're like in our own channel. So, and Angie has the audacity to say, "What is this white music?" And I'm like, we're about to go live, and I'm like, how dare she do this to me?
It was the best moment to say.
My hand was shaking. My hands were shaking. I'm just like, how dare she attack my? First of all, my playlist from high school has some amazing pop songs. Now these days it's all about music has just changed too much for my own taste. But I'm an old person, so who knows? But she attacked one of my favorite shows, but also one of my favorite theme songs. I'm like, don't you dare! We're just about to go live.
I'm pretty proud of that moment because it only took like a handful of words to completely have that show go off the rails.
And we hadn't even started yet. Like they were listening. The audience was just like waiting, like, "Hey, when are you guys starting this show? Like, give me a minute." And then after that, we haven't had a playlist ever since.
Right, she broke Andy completely.
Yeah.
And now we do things on YouTube, so we can't really play music, sadly, because otherwise, YouTube goes they're like, DC Pockets no, DC Pocket goes yes, a la Courtney. Courtney, no. Courtney, yes.
Yes. Courtney, yes, this season. I want to confirm to Warren that no, I don't know everyone's favorite psycho, Adrian Chase. I don't think he's worth going back to Arrow right now.
Listen, he will make you feel things.
But he can make me feel thirst kind of things in other roles. Like I've seen the actor in other roles. Like it's fine. Can feel the same things without having to watch Arrow. Okay?
Right, totally get it, but you should watch season 5 at least, and then you can quit.
No, I already quit. Not going back. I'm happy. I'm free. Okay.
Are you happy? Are you sure you're happy? You don't sound happy.
I am super happy now, and this has been derailed. So this is the end of.
Yeah, I think the last time we actually talked about something Stargirl was probably about 10 minutes ago. So
okay, last question then. What do you think Helios is going to be doing? Like, what kind of threat do you think all it's going to be?
It's just as long as it doesn't. Well, it is. It has an X-Men vibe to it. Sort of what's coming. There are a couple of places they could be going with it. And a couple of characters they could be bringing in if they go the places they could be going with it. Okay, experimenting on kids. It's not a new thing.
It seems like, okay, so we're saying that we're having like this issue with villains now because like we have all these freaking heroes where the villains, maybe Helix is like, oh, that's where the villains are. The villains are all over there, and then they're gonna come over to Blue Valley.
They're coming for sure, but like, what are they coming with? Like, you come to a place where there's a bunch of heroes, there's a bunch of villains, and you come very sure that you can come. Like, it felt like they were very sure that they could come into this place with a lot of heroes and a lot of villains and not have any trouble. And that bodes badly for what they are doing and what their manpower they have. And who they're controlling, because in this show there are a bunch of superheroes they could be bringing on, and I'm sure we can, Andy and I can come up with a list for our 2.5 if whenever we get around to that, which we have to. But yes, thank you, Andy, for asking Stargirl question to finish that. I don't really want to go too much into it. I think people are still digesting what happened, and I don't want to derail with possibilities. But I'm more than a little concerned about what's going on there, especially the way they were just like, oh, we're gonna have to go to Blue Valley. It's like, oh, they're not even concerned.
It'll take them 13 hours to get there too.
Right. Just like, Okay, and the road trip got a lot of problems with Blue Valley. It's apparently like in another universe. It's like you watched Once Upon a Time where they couldn't enter the town. Maybe that's what happens with Blue Valley because it took Starman a long time to find it. Um, and also there are just a lot of people with superpowers there, and they don't seem at all concerned. And so, what it's seems like Todd is not the only thing that we'll see or find and Helix come season 3. I'm pretty sure that will be like back half of season 3. We're gonna have a couple of episodes at least to discuss the frenemies of it all, and that'll be fun before we get into drama.
Well, they may do 2 villains for next season. They may do like because on that other show that you guys seem to not like, they have done like they've split it up to where they have one half of the season focused on one villain, and the second half is second on another one. And what they could do with Cameron is one half.
Right, but like if you have 13 episodes, that's not as doable as if you have 20.
Well, think about it as a mini series almost, kind of like take any comic book run that like sometimes come out for like a mini limited run, 6 issues, done, said and done, and then you start a new arc.
I wouldn't mind as long as they keep it to 13 episodes because I think
I don't think they can afford more than 13 episodes. I think like because all
and it's perfect.
Yeah, like Batwoman and Legends this season, they only do 13. Superman Lois is going to be 15 episodes again, apparently. So and Flash is still doing 18. So it's like they're definitely CW is learning their lesson, which is good because I can't do 22 anymore. I can barely do 20.
Too old. I'm too old for that.
I'm too old. I'm too older. So like I just I've done this for almost 8 years now. I was live tweeting Arrow like in 2012 when I was like just graduating high school and so on every Wednesday.
Don't age yourself, man. Okay. Don't age yourself. So yes, it's been fun. Season 2 of Stargirl. We will be back with some thoughts for season 2.5, and hopefully, probably next summer, we'll be back for Stargirl season 3. In the meantime, you can visit Stargirl Podcast for all the latest news. StargirlPodcast.com. Yes, that. For all the latest news. I'm very good at this. This is live. Remember, I usually can fix it. Right now, I can't. For all the latest news about the Stargirl show, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Stargirl Podcast as well. And you can subscribe to Stargirl Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play. And while you're on Apple Podcasts, you can hit us up with some 5-star reviews. We haven't gotten any reviews in a while. And there's reviews there that annoy me. So, like, come give us 5 stars.
Yeah, you guys, you love yourselves on Stargirl Podcast. Go leave some 5 reviews. Hey, go leave some 5 reviews on their other podcast, Superman Lois Radio.
Right. Yeah, we can use them there too.
Yeah, we can really use them there. And don't forget, we are part of the DC TV Podcast Network with podcasts for all the DC shows at dctvpodcast.com. Follow the network on social media at DCTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please subscribe to our mega feed on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and Google Play. We also have our own TeePublic stores. If you're interested in some merch, click on the link in the show notes. Get some awesome stuff. It does help support the network so we can continue to make these podcasts. And if you have questions or thoughts about Stargirl, please email us at stargirlpodcast@gmail.com. Probably hit us up with emails. No, Twitter. See, normally Lizzie can edit this, and now you hear just what we sound like when we're on these calls together. We will check the emails.
We will. We are going to do a listener feedback episode. The having it screeners for the first one. But we will. So
don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well.
Yes. YouTube. And thank you, B, for your comment that we are your favorite Stargirl podcast. We appreciate it. Thank you. You want to leave us a 5-star review? Probably.
It is the best Stargirl podcast on the internet. That's
and thank you for joining us, Andy.
I wasn't planning on that, but like when you all started dragging me, and I was like,
we were saying good things about you. See,
they were like open invitation. Like they literally said, like, if you want to, like, cause like I was like, do you need me on air? Like, what do you want me to do?
But like the question was, do you need me? No, we don't need you. We just want you, Andy.
The want word was never brought up. I don't have the receipts actually. Never mind. But no, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
You shouldn't need
to hear us say that.
No,
I promise you.
listen. I'm a needy person, and no, but thank you for having me on for so many episodes this season because I literally all of us on my other podcast, we always gush about Stargirl, like, and always tell people that they should go watch it and so on. And and they kept, Stargirl kept the seed good with Grace for Tuesday nights. But now, 2 weeks from now, we're doing Flash again. We're gonna have this big event, Armageddon. Hopefully, their world is not ending. That there isn't like an actual Armageddon, but
Like at least if it's gonna end, can you keep it to that Earth? Thank you. Leave my Earth alone. Thank you.
oh my! I mean, if that Earth goes down, Superman Lois goes down too. So like, Stargirl will be safe, but like or anything, Jordan will be the one to unleash the Armageddon and be like, I want to go see Uncle.
Like if we say
down
Jordan,
low.
maybe I'll take it.
All of Warren Walker is saying right now, we're reviewing right now. So,
oh, thank you, Warren.
Thank you.
and thank you for tuning in live on Saturday. That was great.
Right. So yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye.